Um, we keep judging women who say they'll never date a man who does not have money. If it was up to them between love, a man who will love you but has nothing, and a man who has money and will not love you, which one would you choose, right? And he was giving an example of how women, certain women will choose the one who has money and does not love them, or the one who has money, who doesn't have money but will love them. And he was saying how we judge people, right? We judge people who are like that. We are always like, wanawake wa siku hizi, yani mtu hawezi kupenda tu, anataka tu pesa yako, ni mfuko yako. But how would that woman, help me, Ibu, how would that woman choose love? And when she was a young girl, a child, a young girl, because as children, children pick up so much. When she was a child, she saw her mother choosing love over and over again, and the mother will get hurt. The mother will probably be beaten. She chose a man again, love again, beaten, love again, character development. And the sad reality is that mother chose love, she got hurt, and they were poor. So the child will see, like, these men are not improving our lives. Kenye wanakuja wanafanya tu kazi yao ni kukuja, wanaanza kuchapa mam, na mama ako hapa anasema baba na nini, pole, 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 pole. You would not expect a woman like that to honestly choose love over money. Because she saw her mom choose love, but they were poor. She was beaten and they were unhappy. So what this child said is, I would choose money kikiumana, at least nimekula pesa na mimi penda zangu. Mapenzi, wacha tujuane Valentine, right? So long story short, actually, today we were supposed to talk about childhood trauma and how it has affected us, how it manifests in our lives. Let's say, for example, emotionally. And I think I came up with a few questions on so that they can help me on how to answer how childhood trauma has affected my life. So question number one: how has trauma shaped the way you see yourself and the world around you? Um, well, this one is a difficult one because you want me to be honest. How has trauma shaped you? Trauma shaped me in a way, especially my childhood trauma shaped me in a way that I grew up fearing. I had this fear of failure and fear of taking risks. I would not want to take risks because you know what? There is a probability I'll fail, and it's the indoctrination that we grew up in, where the people around us will tell you like, wewe sioni, wewe ukimake it sidhani, wewe utaanguka, your life is going down. So for me, childhood trauma has made me to have. I'm a perfectionist. I have this thing, fear of failure. I have it, and also I'm an overachiever, and that came by the fact that we were told, okay, in the future you'll not make it. So I had to overachieve to make sure that I prove people wrong. First and foremost for me, if somebody tells me you'll not be able to do something, instead of that putting me down to believe that I'll not be able to do it, I want to prove them wrong. I want to prove them wrong, and once I prove them wrong, I'm good, right? So for me, the way I became an overachiever, I have fear of failure, I'm a perfectionist, but I'm also, through that trauma, I'm able to see that, you know, where you are right now, that does not define you. It's not set in stone, and you can be anything you want to be if you put your mind and your heart and your works in achieving whatever you want to achieve. So that is how I think trauma has shaped me. And I've said I am an overachiever. That is how I see myself. The world around me, mm, the world around me, sadly, the way I grew up, there was a time I did not, I saw like uh, a woman can do anything. She can do anything. Whatever a man can do, a woman can do it better. That is how I view life. That is how trauma made me think about life and the world around me. That in this world, it's men versus women. And you know what? You have to succeed and prove the men wrong. But right now, as I've healed from my traumas, I've now come to understand that it's not that way. I'm leaning into being soft, not being an overachiever, and just accepting to move and live because I had forgotten to live and I was concentrating on just making sure the words of those people from the past do not come to pass. What childhood experiences do you think contributed to the person you are today? I've given an example of that childhood experience, and also academic overachiever is because I got transferred from a public school when I was in class 7, from a public school to a private school. And going to that private school, in our class, we were like 6 or 7. We were three girls, two girls, three girls. And I remember I was uh, the tallest girl, me and another girl, a friend of mine who we joined that class with that year. She came from another public school. And when we joined that class, so we met other like two girls. So one day we were just hanging out around Warfield to break time, just beginning banter, banter, banter. And I don't think that the other girl was with me, or rather she was called later. I don't remember quite. I could just remember what happened to me. The headmistress, she called me and she was an old woman who was supposed to be a shosho, who's supposed to take care of you and protect you. She called me and she was like, hautaleta hiyo manga yako ya public school hapo, sikuja kuniharibia wasichana wangu. Umesikia? Nisikupata ukisimama na hao wasichana mkipiga story. Achana na wasichana wangu. Umesikia? And bro, I think also that has contributed to me being really careful to in making friendships because I don't want to be spoken to that way. I don't want to be spoken to that way. She spoke to me in such a way that was really bad to a point where I remember by the time I was leaving the school in class, and she called me because once she said that to me, I remember I went back to class and all breaks, you would never see me. You would never see me outside. At I'm talking to people. Break time, I'll be in class, I'm reading. Break time, I'm in class, I'm reading. To a point where I think I was in class 8. She called me and she was like, "Hey, Judy, see, at least Tokanga, play around." At that time, when I moved from the public school to the private school, public tulikuwa tunachezanga man. I wish public tulikuwa tunacheza. So now I started concentrating fully on education and just reading. She just called me akaniambia ati Judy, usikae sana kwa class, at least toka nje, ongea na watu, kuja tujuane, unajua wewe ni msichana wetu. But already, the first thing you told me was I should not come near Western Wako. Now, because you see I'm performing well, now you think I need advice from you on how I should make friends. I've realized I'm good alone, and I do not. I am good. I am good, and that one I think I have never thought about it, and I think that's why for me making friends has been an issue because when I tried to, I was told usiaribu wasichana wenyewe. Yeah, interesting, interesting. Uh, how, in what ways has past trauma affected your emotions and how you handle challenges? Past trauma. how it has affected my emotions and how it has. Mm, I used to suffer from intense fear of abandonment. I had chronic anxiety, and I did have difficulty in regulating emotions. But at least as of now, as of the filming of this video, I can see all this is worked on, and especially that intense fear of abandonment. I've worked on it. It's done and dusted. Chronic anxiety, because I understood where it came from and I dealt with that. And I told myself it was not my fault. Chronic anxiety, dealt with that. I'm over it. And I thank God for this one person who has walked the journey with me. They deserve, I don't know. I just say thank God for people who are in your life and they're there with you in every step of the way. Difficulty regulating emotions, yes. Overwhelmed, especially being overreacting in minor situations. I used to have that problem and then feeling overwhelmed, bro, and at times even shutting down completely. But I've worked on that. I've worked on that. Do you struggle with setting boundaries? And if so, where do you think that comes from? Me, I don't suffer from setting boundaries. For me, my boundaries are set in stone. And mine, I've told you that story of when I saw a loved one going through so much in the hands of a caregiver. Um, that is when I said, like, people, you will not walk around me that way. You have to respect me first. I don't have a problem with saying no, and that one has protected me. Though I've had people, again, I've told you, people tell me, oh, you're this, you're that, because of, I've always known, like, you will not just walk over me, and sadly people judge, right? But it's okay, it's life, it's life. And then, when did you first realize that healing from trauma was necessary for your growth? Last year, I'd gone to the office to do something, and then I said, let me just see this friend. So banter, one, two, three, banter, and then this person tells me sudden news that would have, oh, regarding my job, rather, regarding work, that would have affected me, um, like would have really affected me, right? And at that time, that thing had already passed. Like it was not going to happen, but it was, baby, Judith, this thing was to happen. Such and such things were said, but something else came about. Excuse me. And that really affected me. That really put me down. I remember I was stressed. I went home. I was stressed. I went back to my desk and I could not concentrate. It really stressed me for days. Hata nilikonda. And I remember that week after that news, because of that thing again, overreacting to minor situations. I had insomnia. I was overthinking. Like, and imagine that thing. It was not going to happen again, but the fact that it was thought of, and I, I was like, no. I think after that situation and how my immune just dropped, and I think I became sick, it was a turning point for me. I was like, Judith Apana, you have to deal with this. You have to deal with your anxiety. You have to deal with how you respond to certain things, and you have to let go of how you think your life should go, because I am this micromanager. I know my life should go a certain way. I want to control outcomes of my life, and that has worked against me so many times, but it's something that, I'm free of right now. Let go and let God. So yeah, after that time, I just booked a therapy appointment. I went into therapy, one, two, three, best cry ever. And then when I saw the therapist, at least that was the beginning for me. I didn't continue, but it helped me to open up my eyes and my mind. And right now I can see, later on we'll just sit for a story time, and I can say right now I figured a way in which I was able to deal with. my traumas and my issues. And yes, here we are. So after that, being how I overreacted in small things, I was not eating, I did not sleep for days, I was stressing. I felt like the world was against me. I remember that day I was walking back to my desk. Now, have you ever walked to a point where you even don't, you're not aware of your surrounding, you're just existing in a space? That for me was, I know I had to change it. I was like, no, Judith, you have to change these things. What steps have you taken or are taking to break unhealthy patterns in your life? The steps I've taken is first, uh, I recognized my triggers. I recognized why I am the way I am, why I respond to certain things. I recognized all that. And instead of regret, finally I said, you know what? In some situations, it was not fair because it was beyond your intervention. I forgive myself. I said sorry to my past self. And I said, moving forward, I need to heal so that I'm set free. Because if you don't heal your childhood traumas, you will always be a slave to them. You will never know how to move forward. And once I healed, oh my God, it was amazing. So I did recognize everything, the way I was reacting to things, my past, why we used to hold on things, why if something did not happen, I have the chronological me of chronological events of how things are happening. I would tell you I saw you on this day, this day. I understood why all those things were happening. And I said, you know what, I forgive myself because there's that guilt. You feeling that you acknowledge, and the people I felt like I had hurt, I think I just came and um, said sorry, I think, or opened up to, so that we could get a result. And after that, now I start working. I've set myself free. That is all I can say. Like, I realized it was not me, and whatever happened to me in the past, it was not my fault. But that does not define who I am. It's part of my past, but it's no longer me. As they say, at a certain age, when it gets to a certain point in life, you're no longer coming from a certain background. You become the background. And I wanted to set myself free because when I start having babies, I don't want to raise my children with trauma. I don't want to raise my children in such a way that because this happened to me, I want to make sure my children get. There's a certain conditioning that I don't want to bring up my children in. I want to raise my children in a healthy and happy environment without my actions being conditioned by my past experiences. So I just had to sort that one out. And once I sort it out, I tell you, I kid you not, I say it without fear of contradiction. I feel free, bro. I feel good. I feel it's so much change. The fact that I could control, I would not be sitting here looking at the camera and talking and trying to be vulnerable to even strangers, to people I do not know. So if you feel trapped, work on those traumas. We are not, usiseme ati mimi nakuanga hivyo, hapana. There's a reason why you're behaving that way. And once you deal with that, Lord, things will be so easy. You will see life in such a light. You'll just, it's like a veil will drop from your eyes, and you'll be like, okay, now I get it. Now I see why things have happened the way they have happened. So, yeah, that is how it had been. Those are the steps that I took. I don't journal that much. But for me, my solace, I found it through the word of God and just through prayer. And for me, I base my healing from the Bible, from the Bible. That is what that has set me free because, yeah, in another video, just sit down. If you want that video, just tell me, click Apocini, a comment Apocini, just say you want the story behind how I healed and whatnot. And then, how do you manage emotional triggers and moments of self doubt? How do you manage emotional triggers? I've learned to sleep over them and not react immediately in most times, unless there's just that day you're just like, Mimi spend even your money. But I've learned to step back and take a breather and work over it. And again, I said for me, it's from the Bible. I pray over it. And kama nikiamka asubuhi na nikwaza bado, I'll be able to communicate in a way that is softer and not really harsh, because you also need to discover that, especially when dealing with other people, is the other person did not mean harm. It's just that maybe what they told you was a trigger, and how you acted towards them hurt them, and then now we start this vicious cycle of disagreement, fights, and whatnot. So I've learned to step back, and if I act on it there emotionally, I've learned to say sorry and say that, oh, I did not mean it. I'm so sorry. I understand that don't come from a bad place, and I just get over it. And especially, have you realized? I realized when you say sorry, when you know you've wronged somebody and you say sorry, you take away the power from the fight or whatever is fueling that fight, and you just relax. So I've learned, especially when I find myself in the wrong, I've learned to say sorry. I'm sorry. And once you take away the power from your anger, you're able to think in a straight way, and you're able to come up with a result. So yeah, that is how I think I've done it. Moments of self doubt. Moments of self doubt, I've had them, but you know what? We are human, they're there. But whatever is making you doubt yourself, as I said in my first video, like what those other people who are able to do things, why are they able to do it? What makes you less? We're not children of a lesser God. So what makes you what is stopping you from doing it? Those they do come, but they do come. But I always tell myself, you know what, if that thing, whatever I wanted to do, is in my mind, I am meant to do it, and I should do it and fail instead of not doing it because I thought I'll fail. Yeah. So I've learned how to speak to myself positively. Na si kujidekeza so that I procrastinate. I've like, because in the past I would procrastinate because of self doubt. Right now I'm like, do it, fail, and then we learn from the failure. What advice would you give to someone who is beginning the healing journey? Begin. If it's therapy, seek therapy. If you cannot afford therapy, ask yourself, why are these things happening to me? For me, all through the years, I'm somebody who usually I question things, and I would question why, by the way, am I this and that and that. It has taken a long period of time. But by the time I was coming to that point of, excuse me, by the way, Judith, you should go for therapy, I had known something was off. And I have read books and I've understood that the way we are is not how we are. Like si kawaida kusema mi niko hivyo tu, no. It stems back to how we were brought up. So by the time I wanted to change, I knew there was an issue. And if you have people close to you, that person who loves you the most, they will tell you, woman, man, you have to deal with A, B, C, D. Yes, it can come harshly, but I've learned. I sat down one day and just thought of all these things a certain person was telling me. And usually I would get defensive, but there's a reason why. That person is not crazy. That person is not against you, right? Because that's how trauma makes you think. Like if somebody is telling you to change something, that person is against you, and they are there to they have come to destroy you. If you're in this journey, know your triggers, accept that you're not perfect, forgive the person you were in the past, apologize to people you've wronged, and have a game plan on how you're going to heal from this trauma. Because trauma has enslaved majority of us. It enslaved our parents, it's enslaving us, and we cannot bring another generation that is being raised from trauma. Because I know for me, I was raised the way I was raised was because of how the trauma of my caregivers, my guardians, my parents. It's because of I was raised out of trauma. You get, I was raised by traumatized people who had not dealt with their trauma. And at that time, obviously, I can't blame them. Like, it was next, next, we're doing life, we need to survive. But let's deal with it so that future generation can be less traumatized, and we can raise all round children, and those who are parents, we can be able to bring up our children in in a safe environment. And I'd also say, also choose people who make you feel seen, safe, and loved. You should not be around people who just make you feel anxious and doubting yourself, and make you feel yourself you're not worthy of their presence and whatnot. So choose people who make you feel safe, loved, and seen anytime. Don't be around toxic environments and toxic people. Remove yourself from such friendships, relationship environments, even at work. If you notice people just trigger you, if your HR is good, you just step up and just go, I need this and this and this. And don't die in silence. Don't just survive. Don't just exist. And I'd also say that once you deal with your childhood trauma, this aside, is so much peace. You enjoy love in a different way. You feel love in a different way. You don't love for the attention. You don't love to want to be feel wanted. You love, I don't know how to explain, especially in relationship, that is friendship, platonic relationship, intimate relationship, family relationship. The way you experience love once you've healed your trauma is different. It's different. It's a secure kind of love. That is all I can say, and that's the goal. A secure kind of love. You're not anxious, you're not avoidant, you're not mixed, you're not aggressive, you're not ABCD. There's a secure type of love that you will experience, and you'll be shocked. And there's what else? There's peace, there's love, and emotional freedom. You will not be a slave to your emotions, because I was one. You'll not be a slave to your emotions. Like, you will experience life in other ways. You will want to try new things the way I'm trying this space. You'd want to try new hobbies, you want to travel, you want to see what life has there for you other than your 8 to 5 or your job or whatever. What does life have for you out there? So there's so much in dealing with the childhood traumas, and I wish everybody the best, and I wish everybody would heal, because we don't want to be hurt. We our Right now we live in a world of people who have been hurt, and they're hurting other people. But if we deal with our emotions and our traumas and whatnot, oh my god, you'll feel peace, you'll feel secure love, and you'll have emotional freedom that everybody deserves, right? That is all that we want. That is all that we want, guys. That is all that we want. Trauma shapes you, but it does not define you. The past may be painful, but your future is still yours to create. Healing takes time, but every small step forward is a victory. Don't let trauma take control over your life. Take back your life and just push forward. And yeah, all of us will be here creating videos on YouTube and figuring that content creation is not easy, people. It's not easy. It's not easy. I can tell you, I've created this video. I think this is the fifth time I'm doing it. But you know what? Because I've dealt with so much of my trauma, I'm able to sit here and film myself 5 times speaking of the same thing, different versions. Yeah. So thank you so much for watching. Um, subscribe, comment, definitely comment. I just want to know how it has shaped you, and what experiences did you go through in your childhood that has um, contributed to the person you are right now, how you're handling them, what you're doing to get over them, what you're doing to sort how you're healing, rather. That is what I'm saying. So comment down below. Don't forget to share, subscribe, and until next time, bye bye. Thank you for watching.